Hey, everybody. Today I am sitting down with someone who I feel like has lived about five lives all in one, from carving turns on the slopes as part of the American D team, to rodeo arenas, to leading national sales team, to being in law enforcement. Mike Nicola has learned a thing or two about attitude, grit, and heart. He is now a professional speaker and a performance strategist who helps people strengthen what he calls the four bones, turning wishers into doers, talkers into listeners, and dreamers into achievers. Hi, Mike.
Well, good afternoon.
So glad that you are joining us here today. And I wanted to start with a fun little question here. In your opinion, who wipes out harder? Is it a rookie skier or a rookie salesperson?
Well, I believe that the rookie skier, when they crash, it's all physical. But in sales, it's hard on the ego. It's hard on the emotion. It's hard on the inside of us. So the salesperson may not have black and blue on their body to prove that they've just crashed, but they've had a hard time. So it's a little bit discouraging for both parts, but it's different. I think the salesperson crashing is a tough one.
I know that was kind of a random question, but I think you're absolutely right. It's those injuries on the inside that sometimes we don't see. You don't know that someone's
Exactly.
struggling with or what they're going through. And when you fall down and break a bone, I mean, you have a cast on, so it's very visible.
And you can recover generally.
That's true. I broke a leg when I was skiing, and I did recover from that. So it was a long, long time ago. All right. You have lived an amazing life as an athlete, as a cowboy, as law enforcement officer, a corporate executive, and now as a professional speaker. How do you feel that all of those things are connected? How are those all versions of Mike?
Well, it's been a great opportunity for me in my life to have to go through those different areas, and I've kind of kept my foot in each one of them continually. I had no idea when I was growing up on a ranch in western Nebraska that I'd ever put a pinstripe suit on and be, walking down Wall Street, let alone, skiing or rodeoing. But they all came together, and they've all served me in a great way because they gave me a variety of different perspectives on just day-to-day life and the future and whatnot. So plus it makes for some great stories.
So true. And I think that's what led you to your signature talk, the four bones. Can you tell the listeners today, where did you come up with that idea of the four bones?
Well, to be just perfectly straightforward and honest, a gentleman who was my mentor, professional mentor for 35 years, had the original idea. And when he decided to retire, and he's unfortunately since passed away, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Would you like to continue doing this?" But doing it, keep in mind, when he was doing it, it was in the 70s. And so things changed. So I rewrote the entire presentation to fit today's climate. But I have to give Doug Wood, uh, the credit for the idea. And then it's just a matter of expounding on it.
I love that you continued it moving forward, but evolving it as life changes and we evolve
Yes.
and businesses change and evolve. So
Yeah, exactly.
well, in this presentation, you talk about something that's called DC energy, decide and create. And that is the switch that really turns us on. And I love
Mhm.
that. But it got me thinking that there are so many people out there that can hear, well, you just have to decide and then you can start creating something. And it sounds simple until it's not simple. Like when someone is going through something that's a really, really heavy choice in life, like should I end this marriage? Should I quit my job? Should I
Mhm.
finally make that move that I'm avoiding? They need to make that decision and they want to, but they're stuck. There's something keeping them stuck there. So when you're speaking to audience about that decide, and someone does feel stuck, how do you help them kind of get past that hump?
Well, you mentioned it's DC. but you're just talking about D right now.
Mhm.
You have to incorporate the C, and also in between there, imagination. Uh, you know, Einstein once said that imagination is much stronger than intellect. And so when you've got a tough decision to make, if you start to imagine and you start to create what the future would be if you make the decision to go left or make the decision to go right, that helps. Is it right all the time? No, we're human. But it helps a lot in making good decisions. So it's that imagination and that creativity that goes back to reinforcing and helping you, step off the step and make that decision.
I love that. Before we move on to one of your other presentations, can you tell us what the four bones are?
Sure, the folk bones represent four basic attitudinal types that we all have. There's 1,000 layers of attitude, but there's four basic ones. The first one is the wishbone. And the wishbone is that person that sits around all day wishing that they got along with their family better, wishing that they had a better job, wishing, but they never get up out of the chair and make a decision to do something, to try something. So that's number one. Number two is the jawbone. And it's that person we all know, quite a few of them, that spend a lot of time talking, whether it's in the conference room, at the dinner table, and they just constantly talk. But the problem is, as they're talking, they don't hear and they don't see. So thus they don't learn. And so they have to learn to step back and just be quiet for a while to hear and to see and to learn. The third one is the knuckle bone. This is a person that is, had so many negative things that have happened to them. They just feel like they're under a rock. They disagree or they shake their head at every idea because they're just convinced at this point in their life that nothing's going to work. They might be, believe it or not, they might be a successful business person, but they're still negative about everything, and they can recover. They can get pulled out of underneath the rock. It just takes a little work. And they're not bad people. It's just that, again, life has dealt them, some bad things. And so they've just gotten negative and they've, in essence, given up. And then finally, there's the backbone. And that's that person that doesn't wish it away, talk it away, or knock it away. They're the person that gets under the load, sees the finish line, and runs for it, and is creative, makes good decisions. But even if they're not successful, they still get under the next load and run with it.
So is the goal for everyone to be a certain type of bone?
The goal is to be a backbone. That's the goal, and in my talk, the way that I start the talk is if you are my audience and you're listening to this, hopefully this will help you recognize people that you're dealing with, whether it's family, friends, clients, prospects. But then I come around at the end and turn it back on the audience so that they start to recognize within themselves. And I actually give them a homework assignment, which is, the next day or two, I want you to go find a nice quiet place without your phone or your computer, and I want you to take 5 minutes to think about, are you one of these bones? And if you are, you know, then go find a backbone because that's contagious. If you're already a backbone, help somebody that you're working with become a backbone also. So that's the essence of the presentation. I kind of come full circle a little bit where it's initially, let me help you as a salesperson or as a business person, whatever. And then I come around to let me help you.
I love that you said that the backbone was contagious. I feel like I've been all of the bones. And
Sure.
it took me a while to finally become a backbone. And I do
Mhm.
believe that that is what I am now. But there have been different stages in my life that I was the wishbone and, the
Sure.
all of the other types. But I love that you said it's contagious because I do believe that people who are the backbone, they can help
Yeah.
other people achieve that as well. Um, I'm going to kind of shift into one of your other presentations you talk about, which is resilience and how it can be
Mhm.
built. One of the things that you say in this presentation is that we're not born with resilience. And when I was thinking about that, I thought, well, are we though born with some resilience? Because I thought of a baby. And when a baby's learning how to walk, they get up and they stumble and they fall, they cry, but then they get up and they try. Well, most babies get up and try again
Right.
because they want to walk. And then that's their goal. To me, that's resilience. And
Yep.
so I thought of a lot of things that I've gone through in my life, and I either could learn from that situation or I could let it keep me stuck. So, what are your thoughts on that? Are we born with a little bit of resiliency, and then how do we learn from those adversities
Sure.
rather than just kind of saying, "Well, I guess this is my life," and then we don't move forward?
Well, Jasmine, I think you bring up a great point. Yes, I do believe that we are born with it. It's just that I guess originally I was thinking it was just such a minute little thing that most of that resilience comes later on. To your point, it's learning from life, learning from mistakes, recovering. Okay. Um, just doing those different things that make you get stronger the next time around. And after all, every time we fall down, we learn and we move on, or again, we become, a knuckle bone, so to speak. But that resilience does, it just is, there's a lot more of it as we get older and we have more experiences. Um, you growing up, when you were in elementary school, there were things that came your way that weren't good, whether it was bad grades, whatever the case may be, and you lived to talk about it, so to speak. But as an adult, that's compounded by 1,000 or 1,000,000, where every day you wake up and there's certain things that come into your life that you have to overcome. I mean, even in good days, there's, little things that come along, but because you do, you're much stronger and you go forward. And that's what the essence of resilience is.
I love that. And I think that it really applies to a lot of the audiences that you speak to, sales teams. And, when you do have setbacks because of the economy or, anything that's happening, and how do you keep moving forward in those situations? So I think so much of what you talk about applies to our personal lives as well as our professional lives. And I love your messages and resiliency and then the four bones. If you had to sum up your message, what would you want people to remember when they walk away from hearing you speak?
What I'd like them to remember is something that is horribly simple, but it gets lost. And that's if, we're having a bad day, don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on it. You know, learn from the past, but don't learn from the past mistakes. Learn from the past successes. And even if you're having a bad day, even though you may be sliding underneath the rock, um, you know, remember that you can get over it. Go find somebody to help you get over it if you have to, i.e., another backbone or something like that. But it's just recognizing the fact that no matter how tough things are, there's light at the end of the tunnel, always, always.
I really love that. Looking for the good in the day because you can have the worst day, but it's like stopping to smell the roses. My dog reminds me of that all the time. When we go on walks, she actually stops and smells flowers. But
Sure.
just being grateful for the fact that the sun's out today, and that
Yep.
all those things. I love that. All right, so I like to end these with some fun questions. And so the first one I wanted to ask you, you have been a skier, you've rodeoed, you have been in law enforcement, you've spoken to thousands of people, but what's still on your bucket list?
One of the things that's on my bucket list is I've had the great opportunity of doing a lot of traveling around the world. And one of the places that I was at was in Sydney, Australia. And I had the good fortune of staying at a hotel that was right at the base of the bridge. And that bridge has one of the most fantastic New Year's Eve fireworks displays in the world. I would love to sit there, stay in that hotel, sit on a chair out on the lawn, and watch that great fireworks display off of the Great Bridge in Sydney, Australia. So that's one of the things. Yeah.
well, New Year's is coming up, Mike.
I know.
Maybe next year, maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
All right, the last question I have for you. You have done so much. You've just done so many things. Like I said early on, you've just lived so many lives. If you could send a message to 20-year-old Mike, what would you say?
Um, I think that I would say, don't be afraid to try something. Don't be afraid to, you know, what seems impossible. And I guess I'll give you an example of my own life. I grew up in western Nebraska on a ranch. We didn't have any mountains. You know, I didn't start skiing until I was in high school and traveling. And so if you see something and don't just write it off because it's not in your time zone or whatever the case may be, go for it. Okay, you try it, and it's not your cup of tea, then move on to the next thing. But never stop trying things that might interest you. And it might be something simple as, okay, here I am, and I'm 20 years old, and I want to paint. Or, I want to drive race cars. Or I just, want to get into a certain profession. Go for it. Try it. Because you have nothing to lose by trying. You have nothing to lose. That's
That's
all.
great advice. That's such great advice. I decided when I was 40 I was gonna take tap dancing lessons because why not? I thought
Yeah,
never too old, never too old.
right. Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that, Mike. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh,
This has been fantastic. If you are listening to this today and you are interested in having Mike come and speak with your team, you can learn more at voicequestagency.com. Thank you again, Mike, and
well,
I look
thank
forward to
you.
talking to you soon.
Oh, great, great. Hey, have a terrific life.
Thanks, Mike.
Take care.